week, I was finally allowed to pick up a white kitten from West Virginia shelter. And I displayed him proudly on the community cast. You can check out a picture, a screen grab of me holding up my kitten as downtime content. Hope you guys enjoyed my story. We're into a best of 5 finals between people you could probably guess. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm not even going to say who it is. It is the finals of a European Open. In the top left, it's the one guy, and in the bottom right's the other guy. Just kidding, I'll say it. Bottom right, MaxPax, top left, Clem. But at least you have an idea as to where they might be situated. And I say might be because, once again, Clem is proxying a barrack in the last TvP he played in this Open Cup. So he's just a big fan of it. And considering his playstyle and his abilities, it makes a lot of sense. I would not be surprised if he could have, given a different personality, been a Maru-type player in that he would try and prove that this is an opener, not a cheese. In which you would still kind of call it, you would still call it cheesy, even though it's, you know, it's on a scale of 1 to 10 cheese. I mean, it's like a 2 or something. And this actually is not in a particularly good location. He's going to have to cancel this barracks, I'm afraid. He is sending out another SCV, though, realizing he cannot cancel the barracks. It's already 70%, 80% done. So while he is building one back at home in case this really, really goes sideways, in case a zealot pops out, starts chopping away here, he's in trouble. Clem, hoping this would not be figured out as quickly as it was, did not bother placing it up against the minerals, for instance, in which case the SCV might have been able to tuck itself into the pocket here. So all he can do is turn this into a slight aggressive opener, but not really. And he's not even gonna get the barracks, actually. The most effective opener possible for MaxPax. What I was trying to compare Clem to was, of course, the days where Maru would always 2 racks open. Always. He was basically trying to make it an opener, not a cheese. He did eventually stop doing that. But since Clem is usually so freaking good with the Reaper micro, when he would, I'd say, usually gets the barracks up and running, not this game. You know, that's what I was saying. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a different personality. Because even though his IRL personality and his StarCraft 2 play do differ from each other, he still, I would say, is not as a Maru. Not quite as cutthroat or sometimes passionless is a good thing, I suppose. Or looking like he's passionless, I should say. Indifferent. Yeah. Maybe he would have tried. But I think Clem is just experimenting with a little bit of aggression every now and again, especially to start off a series. He did have to cancel the barracks. He was building one back at home, but that's a big delay on his barracks. That was a delay. Sorry. Delay on his barracks and delay on his orbital, more precisely. And it should have delayed his factory as well. So it's all a little awkward. Yeah. No, guarantee it delayed his factory, for sure. So that's all a little awkward, but the most important thing for the Terran player in the worst case scenario is to get that wall up and running. And unless MaxPax is already proxying a pylon himself, which isn't out of the question, but did not happen this game, then you are safe. But while Clem is not being attacked by a proxy gates 2-gate opener, which I think would have just killed him. Pretty sure about that. He is going to be attacked. We do have 3 gateways built, first and foremost for MaxPax, then the Twilight Council. However, MaxPax did not ever send a probe across the map for a proxy pylon, even for slow warp-in, so yeah, Clem has been delayed. His opener certainly didn't work out, and, you know, obviously his economy was hit for really no reason. He still has a chance to defend this, but he would need to know about it to have the best chance possible, and he does not know about it. The Reaper was denied entry into the main. 1 Stalker, 1 Adept is a trap. 3 more Stalkers came up. The Cyclone was unable to escape as the Marines blocked its path, at least able to take down 1 Stalker with it. But he's got Widow Mines, not more Cyclones, and those Widow Mines are not back at home. The Marines, trapped outside of the base, are in some trouble, trying to use that high ground to the best of their advantage. Good focus fire here from MaxPax, who also makes sure to get that high ground vision with the healthiest Stalker possible. He is trying to overwhelm his opponent here, knowing that he has a moment, but the moment probably has passed. Widowmine drop is looking to be affected by the looks of things. And by effective, I mean at least survive. Oh, Jesus. Good Lord. Oh, no, it didn't survive. All right, then. Medevac goes down. Widowmines go down. Not a lot of damage was done. Very inefficient opener for Clem here. Things have gotten so topsy-turvy, so awkward. But finally, that tank pops, and I feel like I'm casting a Brood War matchup, you know? Where the Dragoons are, you know, the best thing about the Terran before they have a tank is that they might have high ground because they didn't build the bunker. Then the Dragoons are going to bully them, and then the Dragoons get range, and then you need the siege mode. Well, of course, in StarCraft 2, siege mode comes automatically. And it looks like the Widowmine did actually do some damage. Oh, second time's the charm for that Widowmine. Gets 8 probes. I don't know how the hell that wasn't taken care of. I don't know where it was. I thought it was killed. That's why I didn't even bother looking for it. Saw the one in the main get killed, natural, I just couldn't even see the dot. And I guess MaxPax couldn't either. Very unfortunate, because up until that point, MaxPax is having one of the best games possible for Protoss. Now with 8 more probes killed, I mean, it's kind of... still good, I would say. And SCV is finally going down as well. 4 Stalkers without Blink? No, they have Blink. Okay, good. They will be able to escape. Dove a little bit into that mineral line prior to the tank being sieged up. Raven Auditor Harassment will grab at least 2. There we go. 3 more probes. Almost grabbed 5 in total, actually. And we do have little jabs going at each other. But now, as they finally are finished poking each other, waving their hands in front of their siblings' faces, we have to kind of see who has the better infrastructure to determine who's ahead. Because right now, a 3-worker lead, 4-worker lead for Protoss, we know it's not enough to make up for double mule, which is finally on the way. Orbital is on the natural. But 3 Nexus could be chronoed to quickly jump that probe count up. And we see at least 1 chrono there. Although the Raven comes back in, is going to kill some of those probes that are just built. We do have the Terran infrastructure almost complete. Reactors being built on Starport and Factory. Stim almost done. The combat shields and +1 a long way away. Stalker still looking to do some amount of picking off. A couple of Marines, a couple SCVs. I don't know, actually. I think Clem might have been able to reestablish a position in this game, despite everything looking like it went far worse for Clem. His barracks had to be canceled. His technology and his economy had to be delayed because of that, because of the orbital situation. And then he was 3-gated without his knowledge, barely survived. His Widowmines initially did no damage, but then eventually did, I guess. I mean, up until the Widowmine popped off, it did not look like Clem was having a very good game, but perhaps those 8 probe kills was all it took. And now Clem has his army, has his upgrades, has a 3rd CC on the way, and we'll be able to move out. The Stalkers will be able to delay this a small amount anyway, if they're paying attention. Ah! Will that delay be big enough? Charge and +1 are finishing for the Protoss. The charge lots have yet to be warped in. Gateways finishing as the Terran army starts their progress across the map. Whoops-a-daisy, forgot about the Warp Prism. As you do. The Warp Prism is going to warp in a decent amount of charge lots. That is going to draw Clem all the way back home. I'm going to try and save his tank. The tank is not the most impressive unit defensively against a charge lot warping, but you want to save it if you can. And it is going to be saved, but 10 SCVs do go down. Warp Prism will live, and the army of the Terran pulled back completely. So MaxPax has certainly bought time to continue warping in units, gets his 4th base on the way as well, starts up the +1 armor, and is going to get a Colossus out, I believe, before Clem actually gets a chance to do anything. So very, very important Warp Prism harassment. That's usually what trips the Terran up. Clem, basically trying to be okay with this, all right? Like, this is not his best game still from start to finish, because he's still not been in control at any point in this game. He's been surviving, he's been doing what he can with the harassment, and that's excellent, but it's not the type of game that Clem would usually thrive in. Now finally getting to stay on the middle of the map, cut the Stalkers a little bit by surprise. Now MaxPax is microing them, has pushed away the Warp Prism, but it is still alive, so you gotta worry about that. And Clem is gonna go ahead and try and for his first attack. The Colossus is out. It does not have that Thermal Lance. The upgrades are so far even, with that +1 armor only halfway done for MaxPax, and he is trying to kind of nip this in the bud a little bit away from the shield battery while he can. Takes down a handful of Marines. Not too shabby, and then it can always fall back to the overcharge. Warp Prism comes back in as well for more Zealot harassment, and that's going to kill a good amount of SCVs. Clem's in a lot of trouble. The 2 tanks will siege up. Widowmine will help survive, helps keep them alive, but I don't think the Terran army is going to survive. This Colossus, charged up with the shield battery, is going to be enough to take down the remnants of the Terran army. Tanks are gone. Most of the Marines are gone. Only really 4 Marauders, which with an Immortal in the mix, is really not all that scary. More charge lots were warped in as well, and Clem, his economy is in the dumpster. He's down 28 workers. His 3rd CC is going to try and lift over, but his main attack did not work at all. Medivacs are also out of juice. The Marauders will not outpower the Zealots, and that Warp Prism is, of course, going to come back into the mix. And it does feel right. Again, Clem's opener, up until that Widowmine popped off, was terrible. I mean, it was one of the worst openings you could possibly ask for. And I didn't think 8 probe kills later in the game would have been enough to save the Terran, but I was starting to worry. I think if Clem had been able to do his attack when he wanted to, if that Warp Prism had ran right into a Marine and Widowmine, for instance, immediately taken out, and so Clem just walks across the map, I think it's very scary for MaxPax. But fortunately, he does try to make sure he has that Warp Prism in his back pocket. In the top left of Equilibrium, we have MaxPax up 1. In the top right, it is Clem. He tried a proxy racks, was found, and could not complete the proxy racks, which takes all the wind out of your sails. Delayed barracks. No aggression. Not really a point making a Reaper back at home with how much it's been delayed. A delayed barracks means a delayed orbital, because you need a barracks for an orbital. And it also means a delayed factory, because you need a barracks for a factory as well. It's kind of the start of the tech tree, you know? You open up that pamphlet you got back when you actually bought cases of video games, and you were on your ride back home, and parents were driving you, and you were a little kid swinging their feet, opening up the game they just got from GameStop or something, and you're so excited to play, you opened up the little instruction. And then there was like artwork, and there was like cool little details, and then there was like a tech tree you could look at, and you were just so excited. Ah, those were the days. It's 2024. We're all too old. Anyway, that's what the tech tree said for the Terran player. So it's a big loss, but even though the economy and the technology loss sounds already pretty great, that total lack of aggression and map control is really the greatest. Is that also led into him not scouting that 3-gate, which if he had known, he would have been able to handle a bit better. Probably would have changed even a Widowmine into a Cyclone, or left his Widowmines at home initially, or something along those lines. And it really did tumble from there. It was a terrible opener. The 8 probe kills is the only shining hope there. And if Clem had been able to move out with his first push, probably still on a power spike, I suppose, might have been a contentious game. But without it, not so much. MaxPax could have fumbled the ball, theoretically, by keeping at the engagement away from his shield battery, letting his Colossus get targeted down, not warping in enough Zealots, I don't know, getting some plow blocked, but he did not. So MaxPax with a deserved Game 1 victory, really. His early probe scout led to the early scout on the proxy racks. But this game, MaxPax has not gotten so much of a lead right off the bat. It is a good old-fashioned 1-Rex expand from the Terran, which he did scout. MaxPax might grab a gold-based 3rd, but he did grab his usual natural. No problems. He is going for a Twilight Council first. Yes, it is finishing up, and a Robo's coming down after that. Immediately after that, could he be 4-gating? Could he be DTing? Kind of leaning towards the DTs. There's something off about the build. I feel like maybe I just... Yeah, okay. Yeah. I was like, this can't be a 4-gate build. And I don't do mine very appropriately at all. I'm not really a Protoss player. I'm not really a StarCraft player at all anymore. I do not do builds. I look at the pros who do builds. And this definitely was a MaxPax DT build. He brings it out. He still has that, and he still brings it out every once in a while, carrying forth with the momentum gain from A game 1 victory, I don't mind it. Perhaps the next map, he will go for his 4-gate opener. And then that could be the 1-2-3 punch to get him that surprise 3-0 that occasionally happens between the two. Now, Clem has gone for also a typical Widowmine drop follow-up, so this means he will be getting some amount of scouting. Will he be getting the exact scouting that he needs is always the question. Not so far. He's going into the natural, where he's not going to see anything really telling. The Stalkers wouldn't have a blink at this point, so even, you know, they should blink, but they don't. That's not really a tell. That's a lot of lost mining time. Hot pickup as well. Hot diggity damn. Sometimes the way that Clem medevac pickup, it looks like it's a Warp Prism. Like it has range, but it doesn't. I don't know how he does it. We'll grab 2 probes, not save the Widowmine this time, and get the scout. The most important thing right there is that his evacuation path went by the Dark Shrine. He was already grabbing a Raven, though, by the looks of things, which is very important. Now he's also able to pull his SCVs in time so that there is no undue damage, I suppose, right? Because even if you are getting everything you need to defend against CTs, there's always that chance that you don't know it's on the way. They infiltrate your SCV line, and they still kill like 8 SCVs, which, I don't know, always seems to happen. Cyclone Lock-On won't kill the Warp Prism, but the SCV surround does help kill that DT. Natural has been cleared up as well, and 4 SCVs is totally fine. I mean, you always want to be able to save all your SCVs if you scout it and you have a Raven, but that is really difficult to do. The DTs almost always get into the mineral line, and since they one-shot workers, they almost always get some damage done. But was that actually enough damage as far as a DT rush goes? No. And I call it a DT rush because no one really won bases anymore. Certainly not on the professional side of things. It's way too obvious. So MaxPax is going to follow up with a little bit of Archon harassment and Blink Stalker harassment at the front as well, though Blink is not quite done. Their Nexus was not built at the gold base, just regular old blue minerals. He is going to try and overpower a limited army supply. But it looks like Clem, with all of his forces combined together, does have enough. It gets a lot more awkward when the 2 Archons drop on top of the tank, kill it, then the Marines come forward before the Marauders get blasted by a couple Archon shots, and then it's only Marauders left over. Then suddenly you're dealing with 2 Archons and a Warp Prism that can micro, and Blink Stalkers joining in. Like, that can actually get ugly really, really fast. But Clem does have enough units at this point in time that he's okay. Although here we have one of those situations where his army is a little segmented. Nope, still okay then. Still good to go. Even save the Cyclone. MaxPax also dealing with auditor harassment back at home now. Has that to worry about, so he can't focus entirely on his own micro. And well, that second auto turret kind of caught him by surprise by the looks of things. That is the one that got a lot more probe damage. 6 in total as the auto turret just tucked itself back into the corner. MaxPax is going for that +1 attack with charge on the way, but it is only halfway done. With only Stalkers, well, a couple of Archons as well, of course. But with only Stalkers, theoretically, you're not going to hold up against the Bio army. The Archons are going for more harassment, trying to get that tank, trying to get some reinforcements, or eventually forced to recall, knowing that the attack could be on the way, and needing those Archons to help with the defense. Auto turret, once again, being a bother. Looks like the Raven is still alive. Oh, there you are. Just couldn't see it. And MaxPax is successfully delaying the push of the Terran. But eventually, push will come to shove. And he still is on a majority Stalker ball. The Zealots still not being built up, still don't have charge, and it's a little concerning. But charge finishing in literally 10 seconds here. A couple of Archons really helpful as well, especially as they're being microed. And with charge finally finishing during the battle, I do believe MaxPax will find enough room to push this back, but a Widowmine just got a huge connection on most of the Protoss army, and more reinforcements were coming through. Perhaps MaxPax not expecting as much bio as that. Might have bitten off more than they can actually chew. One Archon still alive, charge lots being reinforced, +1 finally done for the Protoss as well. But now mobility could be the issue. A lot of Stalkers went down or were forced to evacuate to the south, so in the main base, the medevacs go. You're gonna grab 1 pylon and maybe a second. Now they're gonna take care of the Warp Prism and the Archon and perhaps the Dark Shrine. Now forced to actually engage with the main army. Might have to retreat. That's exactly what the Stalkers are waiting for, and they will be able to take down one medevac, but not quite the second. A couple of SCVs went down. I'm not actually sure why or where or how, but it did. It was only a few, though, because a DT snuck on in. Clem now has 3 bases, an equal amount of workers, and a bigger army supply. He did not start +1 armor, though, so I do believe that is a straight-up mistake. There he goes. He recognizes it as well. MaxPax having a moment of questionable defense. Might have over-invested into the defense, you know. Trying to turn into an offense, almost. But not quite. Not quite. Took some damage in the main, but not a lot. And with the 4th base building that entire time, it was able to get saturated, making up for the probe losses or the lack of probe production to a fair amount. Just transfer over the probes you do have. So 4 base Protoss, 3 base Terran. MaxPax still only on that Gateway army, though. No movement over into Storm or into Colossus or Disruptors. So pound for pound, MaxPax's army is still kind of fallen short. But this is where perhaps distractions and mobility and Warp Prism harassment can really come into effect. Clem, though, going to handle this particular Zealot run by very, very well. Wood of Mines and Reinforcements perfectly positioned. Meanwhile, the main armies are sharking after each other. It's something that MaxPax can't win. No, he can't. I mean, this is not even enough Zealots that even if he got an opportunity to surround, I think he would take it. Yeah, no. Too big of a Terran army. He would need like 30 Zealots getting us around to actually take this on. He will at least have +2 attack. MaxPax with superior upgrades, but the quality of the armies, man. The Terran army is pretty freaking good. Wood of Mine gonna help as well, of course. And MaxPax is dangerously close to losing his 4th base. And that Bio army is going to micro its little heart out, and more reinforcements coming on in as well. Not a whole lot of Wood of Mines, in fact, just the 1. And the Zealots reinforcing might do the trick. Lots of Stalkers getting some damage in here, and just perhaps maybe once again, MaxPax will hold. But look at the supplies, a 50 supply difference as MaxPax is also struggling to produce. Banking at 1,200 minerals, a little bit more than you would hope you would. If you had 12 gateways, that actually would have been perfect, but still the timing can be very, very awkward. Stalkers are great. The smaller these battles become, then their micro really shines. But I'm not sure we've gotten to that point quite yet, although MaxPax thinks that he has. The blink forward was questionable, but might have been right on point. Nah, it was not. I mean, it again, it's a slightly different scenario leading up to that point. If there wasn't a 50 supply difference, there was a 20 supply difference, and a lot of that was in reinforcing armies antlining their way across the map. A blink forward like that could have been the decisive maneuver to turn things around. But there really was just too much Terran. The Terran was taking too many victories over time, and the Protoss could not keep up. So, a tied up series now on our hands. Thank goodness. I'm pretty sure I would have bought in the Wings of Liberty box. Oh, by the way, I got a donation. I'm so sorry. Thank you very much to Mr. Chayez for the 20 bucks. Hope you had a fantastic festive season. I hope you did too. Thank you very much for your support. Continued support. Awesome members of the community here on the channel. Why do they even have this? Why do they even have the tilde? No one even uses it. Anyways, in the top left of Site Delta, we now have Clem tying up the series. In the bottom right, it is MaxPax, who, well, kind of not the same amount of bad opener, but did have his own bad opener, I suppose. You know, that first game, Clem's opener was the worst one you could really think of for a Terran, a proxy that's found out and has to be canceled. Pretty much the worst case scenario. A 2-base DT rush that only kills a handful of SCVs, you know, that's not the worst thing to ever happen, but it is unideal. When you go for the DTs, you do want to kill, I would say, at least 8 SCVs, plus a bit more of lost mining time and chaos. And then I think the DT player can feel pretty okay with themselves. Plus, MaxPax does like that follow-up with the Archons, which if he did kill 8 SCVs and a little bit more chaos, could have also found Clem in such disarray that the Archon Stalker attack would have done a lot more damage. I've seen him straight up win because of that. But no, didn't happen. So, yeah, just not enough, into not enough, into not enough, into not enough, and MaxPax was on the losing side for probably since the DTs didn't do a lot of damage. But then one of those situations where if a miracle engagement would have happened, a miracle run-by would have happened, the tides would have turned, the momentum would have gone to MaxPax, he would have controlled the map, he would have made a safer transition over into... safer and faster transition over into Splash, and the game is still going, but... yeah, kind of similar starts for both of their victories, or both of their losses, I guess you would say. Unideal openers into not really finding that one moment where they still have a power spike into, okay, fair enough, I gotta tap out of this game. Very, very fair so far. And once again, a normal opener. 1 rack to expand from Clem. MaxPax on the Nexus here after 7x4, I think, probably. Mr. Chaz, thank you for the 24 months. 24 in 2024. Oh. Don't tell me what's ever going to happen. A little change up on the opening units, though. Clem not with any amount of scouting, first of all. No Reaper, no SCV scout. But then, second of all, actually getting a Hellion this time. So last game, he went right into the Widow Mines, I believe. Maybe you got a Cyclone first, but he went into a Widow Mine drop. Pretty sure. Immediately. Now with the Hellion, this will be his scout. This will be the thing that races across the map and gets a scout. And then maybe he still goes into a Widow Mine drop anyway. The MaxPax, well, he does have a Zealot, and he does do this on occasion. He's trying to find some amount of damage. He does have to contend with a bunker, so it's always, you know, questionable if you can find the damage you really want. So far, it's okay, I suppose. The Hellion needs to stay at home to help out. Oh, SCD does go down as well. But the Hellion will eventually get a scout. And as long as the Hellion gets a scout before 4.5 minutes, yeah. Basically, if you get to scout before 4.5 minutes, and it's a 2-base build, yeah, you'll see everything you need to see. Well, actually, not a 3-gate, I think. So it would see a 4-gate Blink. It would see a Dark Shrine. But a direct 3-gate attack, like in Game 1, maybe the Hellion would have missed that timing. It's not that, though. And the Hellion, just with that little poke forward to see the structures building at the time that they are, already gets some good information. The second gateway, the Robo, really leaning towards a Twilight Council opener. No Stargate units have harassed him either, so that's another clue. And then, while it could still theoretically be a Dark Shrine, the Robo would have been done much faster. This would have been a weird Dark Shrine timing. So yeah, that was basically enough. And the Widow Mine drop is going to get any further confirmation necessary, for instance, on whether it's a 3-gate or 4-gate, and it is, in fact, a 4-gate. Now, usually, I would have pointed this out way earlier with a sarcastic, who would have thunk it? But actually, MaxPax had... Ooh, target fired the soccer. MaxPax had been stopping going into 4-gate. English good. He was moving more and more into a 3-gate. Still a good amount of pressure. Still the potential to win in a really ideal scenario. But he was not 4-gate dedicating. But now he's brought it back, so... You know, I did guess this as the third map. But only if he had won the second. Looks like he likes us on Site Delta anyway. I hope this isn't me, but it might be. It isn't. Haha! Sinistro. On his laptop. At least has the courtesy to drop out prior to the micro battle that is about to ensue. Could have been worse. Could have been much worse timing, but I think this is a complete... Ouch. Seems like he's a goner. Yeah, I'm so a little surprised, man. I guess MaxPax basically will throw in 3-gate, 4-gate, 3-gate, 4-gate, Stargate, Stargate, 3-gate, 4-gate, BT, 4-gate, you know, like he does still like the 4-gate occasionally. Just really felt like it wasn't doing enough. I liked his change up, but perhaps it's time to change back. Perhaps Clem would be a little weak to it as well if he always went into, let's say, like a Hellion, Widow Mine, Cyclone. Then he wouldn't have his first tank already. But first tank he does have, and Bunker he also has, which is being mass repaired at the very last second. A nice hold so far for Clem, who obviously with that Scouts made sure to A, continue building tanks, and B, build the second bunker, just in case the first one actually went down. But with that hold, that really good first hold, Clem's chances in this game to win them based off of this is pretty freaking high. It's not over yet, but that was a good first hold. 2 tanks able to hit these stalkers as well, and that stim, even if it is canceled, not the biggest deal actually. It's not that far along. Overall, the wall still being set up is more important. Now he put the tech lab over on the left barracks as well. Stalkers going down, 2 of them. 2 stalkers went down, many more injured, and now 3 tanks ready to go. MaxPax does not have the momentum to win with the 4 gate. If he doesn't have that, then he should be building his way into a 3rd Nexus. Finally, he is. He will take down 1 tank and 1 bunker, but that is not going to be enough to win the game. Okay, take down 2 bunkers. Oh, just barely. Just barely did not take down that 2nd bunker, but the point is, Clem doesn't get overwhelmed here. That is the most important thing. If he gets overwhelmed, then oh shit, I had a good chance to win, but I didn't. That's my bad. But if he doesn't get overwhelmed, his army increases in quality. MaxPax, not so much. Now, MaxPax, I think, is very much recognized that his 4 gate's not going to win, so he went into the attack of the natural, sure, but he also got his 3rd Nexus. He got the Warp Prism with the 4 Stalkers to one-shot Marines and SCVs, and he is kind of moving over into his recovery mode. I think it's too late. I think the damage was not done. Clem retained a good amount of units, the army units, that is. He retained almost all of his SCVs. Only 1 went down. A lot of the times, MaxPax would at least find an opportunity, well, to do this, which is good. For stalkers, harassing the SCV line, it's something. But he also would have found opportunities in other games and other maps to force the SCV repair on a bunker and then kill the SCVs. But in this game, especially with the ramp providing that extra defense, MaxPax was, you know, all in. It was all or nothing. You either kill the tank, you kill the bunker, or you don't get anything else. And so in that case, he didn't get anything else. He didn't get those maybe 12 SCVs that we could see in other 4-gate iteration of MaxPax's. So it's not a good situation for him. His 3rd Nexus is done, that's great, but his Warp Gate units, his gateway-based army, it's gonna be pretty pitiful. Clem's gonna have this huge army with medevacs, with Widowmines, with tanks, with an upgrade. And all MaxPax is gonna have is gateway units. And the threat of a backstab. The threat of that run-by. Threat of the Warp Prism, which is powerful. But is it powerful enough? Certainly helped in the first game. But Clem should be very on guard here in Game 3. Viking finds the Warp Prism, perfectly timed. Generally, Clem is on to MaxPax's pacing. I don't even call them tricks at this point. It's just the pacing of it, right? It's thinking that he zags when he zigs, and vice versa, that gets you still caught off guard against the guy. Not so much that you know he will zig or zag, just which one is he doing. And in this case, seems like Clem is totally on top of things. A couple of probes went down as well to something or another. Raven auto-turret harassment, I assume. Yes, indeed, that's exactly what it was. And oh, a little bit of a back attack there. The surround. Oh, the Widowmines as well. Everything coming together for Clem as he chased down those stalkers who were way too aggressive anyway. And MaxPax was just hoping for a miracle power spike engagement. Wasn't going to happen, even without those stalkers getting surrounded like that. And now we are in potentially the final map of this best of 5 series. In the bottom left of Hecate, it is MaxPax. On the top right, we do have Team Liquid's Clem. Thinking of how to pronounce the map, I remembered hearing that there might be a map that is difficult to pronounce in the TLMC. So I'm scrolling through, and it does look like all the TLMC finalists are easy to pronounce maps, so thank you, map makers, for that. I don't know what happened. It's collective when it came to this map pool. You guys forced me to learn new words, and I don't like that. Give me easy words, thanks. So, Clem now up 2-1, that last game being the prime example of when a 4-gate fails. MaxPax has more 4-gate fail recoveries than probably anyone else. Probably. Hard to say. Parting has had a very, very long career. in which Blinkstalker attacks have come and gone as like the thing to do, so he might be beat out by parting. But certainly in the last 3 years, MaxPax has done the most. He's the most consistent with them, because so many other Protosses have just, you know, they're like, well, it's an all-in. You know, I do it once, and then it doesn't work like shit. And then he does them the best, I would say, too. Maybe Parting will want to make a funny YouTube video where he yells at me about this. More power to him, but I think he's better than Parting at Blinkstalker Micro. Maybe specifically 4-gate decision-making? Maybe not Blinkstalker Micro exactly? Be hard to say, but yeah. But even he cannot overcome such a bad start to the 4-gate. Really, the complicated, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go, I guess MaxPax can recover, happen when he identifies earlier on that it's not going to work. So he transitions over into a third Nexus and gets a couple of run-bys and buys more time. When he actually kills more SCVs than you think, so he doesn't kill the Terran player, but then he was able to kill a bunker, which led to the SCV pool, which led to the 6 SCVs, plus then another 10 with the Warp Prism Micro, and then he also was killing all of the tanks, even though he traded, so there's no tanks on the offensive from the Terran. You know, like, it's those dynamics that make it a little more questionable, but Clem saved his bunkers, he saved his army, he saved basically all of his SCVs. It was kind of a no-brainer from then on. Even though MaxPax was determined to still make something work, and that's why he was being aggressive, hoping to find Clem at his last weak point. Didn't happen. So this game, MaxPax does away with the 4-gate. He is going to go into an Oracle opener, nonetheless still into Blink, so it's not a Stargate really based composition. I was actually quite surprised that Roddy and Cass in Atlanta, I think, was talking about he doesn't really like the Oracle opener. I think he was talking to Rainer maybe about it, actually. Doesn't really appreciate the Oracle into Blink opener. And I mean, his logic kind of makes some sense, you know, basically the argument is that, you know, if you're just going to go into Blink anyway, not just go Blink first. Does the Oracle really help you out enough? And, I don't know, I've actually always really appreciated this opener. I'm not bringing... Oh, Jesus, I save the SCVs. Of course you are! I'm not bringing this up to be like, well, Roddy has a bad opinion, guys. Oh my god, he's gonna save all the SCVs. Oh my god. Stop. This kid, though. Thank you, Senior 101 for 3 months. Anyway. It was not to bring up, like, Roddy has a bad opinion. I was just interested in an opposing viewpoint. Because I actually really like this. Like, Showtime was doing this a lot for a while. This Oracle into Blink. I actually really liked it. I think the Oracle can theoretically do everything it needs and more. Or it could die, but I wouldn't mind. You know, either one. But if it does everything it needs and more, I mean that it gets scouting, and then it actually kills a couple of SCVs. It can threaten the 3 Adept attack too, theoretically, but not this game, of course. So I've liked it, but there is that chance that it just doesn't do anything. And even if it does scout, the scout doesn't help you enough. And honestly, we've seen quite a few games where the Oracle doesn't scout, and so the Blinkstalkers don't know where to go, and then the Terran just rolls them over. Bowls them over. Bowls them over. Anyway. Or the Oracle dies to single Widow Mine. And now the Oracle is no longer here to help with the scouting. So the Stalkers, they do have Blink now. They will be able to track the army to a certain extent. But not as good as a Revelation would have. Trying to go for the bunker, doesn't find it. Does find the Cyclone. That's something, although not a lot. 3 Nexus set up for MaxPax, who did opt to add in at least 1 Phoenix here to help. Thought he was going to use it defensively. He is, in fact, using it to rally into the Widow Mine and get injured. That was really weird. I actually don't know what the hell he was going to use that for. I think he just had a misrally, right? That's got to be it. Because if he was going to scout, if he was really worried this was a 5 Rax and wanted to get the scout on the build, it would have gone to the main, not so much the natural. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was thinking the Widow Mine drop would have come from that direction. The Phoenix is now very injured. Pylon's coming down to try and get some map observation, since he can't be affording to build a bunch of observers. He is trying to get his charge finished, and his charge luck counts up. He'll be on 9 gateways soon enough, and Clem is only just now making his way across the map, and I do believe he is. This is actually a move out. His third CC has only just begun. So MaxPax is looking for any opportunity he can find. Kill a Medivac, almost got that one. Kill a Marine, kill a Marauder, all would be great. Technically, Clem does not know exactly what his opponent is doing. He has not seen the gases in the natural. He saw the third base finishing, but nothing further. So he doesn't know if it's Mass Zealot, over into Storm, over into Colossus, or what. And it is going to be certainly a lot of Zealots, but the real threat is in that run-by. The proxy gateway coming down, providing even faster reinforcements on the run-bys. Very annoying. That's a lot of Zealots to deal with, and while the bunker will hold for a certain amount of time, it doesn't hold for very long. Quick pickup as he realizes he has to abandon ship, but Clem is also now trying to force the end of the game, running up the ramp into the shield by the overcharge, though, into the force fields as well. Not going to be the most effective fight. And Clem is forced to back away, try and wait for a better opportunity, but while he has to wait for that, he's also taking SCV damage. So MaxPax getting exactly what he wanted. He got the defense of his third base while grabbing his fourth, and he killed his opponent's SCVs. 12 of them go down, delay on the third CC, and a total withdrawal of the army. That is an excellent 30-second period there for the Protoss. Is it enough to win the game? Not quite, but it is enough to give him some breathing room to get over into those Colossus, and perhaps even start up extended thermal lance with a 20 probe lead here, and the fourth base done. MaxPax is in a pretty good economic position. War Prism not going to find any further harassment as it is forced to be recalled out, but that proxy gateway was never figured out. I mean, Clem not even looking for the proxy pylon. And that's maybe because he's being distracted, sure, but then also because MaxPax will often not have proxy pylons on the field, actually. He will be running those Zealots all the way across the map from his home. He does that a lot. So I'm assuming that's why Clem isn't looking, because this is kind of a missed opportunity right there. All right, then. Well, once again, back on the front lines. Clem is going to be trying to end the game. He does have his army supply lead and an upgrade lead. 1-1 to just 1, but he's about to be a 2-pronged attack. War Prism 3-pronged, maybe even. War Prism in the main. That third CC, if it was there, would have been under pressure, and the natural also going to be under pressure. It looks like the main base is actually going to be the main problem point, as the natural was dealt with, and the third isn't down yet, but still very annoying, and Clem is also being denied the opportunity to kill the Protoss player. Nice force fields once again. Colossus really helping out. Into the main we go. Stalkers do try and race over here to try and help out. Aren't able to one-shot that one Medivac, though. Kind of a bummer. And that Colossus, to be so freaking careful. The Colossus should absolutely not have cliff walked. Oh, that was absolutely a misclick. I really don't think MaxPax thought the Stalkers are going to be enough to hold there. That is a unfortunate loss. Second Colossus not going to make the same mistake. This time around going to have plenty of Zealot buffer, although the Wood Mines are starting to pop off. Yep, the Zealots are doing their job. A little bit of split, however, from Clem. His Marines mostly on the backside. Those Marauders standing strong. And the Colossus is once again in some danger here. Sentry goes down. Stalkers go down. Zealot reinforcements desperately trying to come in now entirely on the defensive, as MaxPax is on the ropes, which means that his harassment no longer up and running. Clem finally able to mine in peace and fully micro on the offensive. That Colossus once again in trouble thanks to the cliff walk. Will barely be able to hold, but that's a lot of Marauders, a lot of Medivacs, and very few units protecting the Colossus. That does have range, but it doesn't matter. It gets taken down, and the 7X core still has yet to be rebuilt, so only so many Stalkers are in play. One less as they go down to the Medivac drop in the main, and MaxPax can't chase, so Clem's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll just run away. Clem getting his own 30 seconds to shine here, turning it actually into more and more and more and more, though. In fact, he could turn this into maybe a game-ending type of push. Zealot numbers are now very concerning, and oh, he's not paying attention! Oh, he absolutely was not paying attention at that moment. He would have picked up as soon as Zealots got on top of his army. And then he goes into the main where the Stalkers are able to actually one-shot the very injured Medivac. The Zealot run-by on Clem's side of the map. Perfectly timed to interrupt Clem's flow. Not that it did a lot of damage. It's probably like 4 Zealots. Got cleaned up by the reinforcements, but it distracted Clem at a pivotal moment. I do think MaxPax was gaining enough Zealots that he wouldn't have died, but the fact that those Zealots got up close and personal, chopped down a couple of Marauders, and then led to also the main base being defended, I mean, that was perfect. We also have an aggressive move out from the Protoss, finding Clem a little disoriented, so he lost a medevac attempt that he picked up and run away, just got picked off. The Observer's been tracking the movement of the army. That's been a sore point as well. And MaxPax, despite that moment of vulnerability where his army was getting picked apart, has been on 4 bases the entire time. 4 bases versus the 3 of Clem. Clem only recently, I think, getting to a really solid SCV count too. Oh, jeez, that's so much red. So much red! What are the resources lost, though? Yeah, MaxPax was probably even like 5,000 resources behind before those zealots jumped on top of the army and everything went to shit. Oof, alright. Upgrades had also evened up at some point, don't know exactly when. The +2's been done for MaxPax. About 40 seconds away from having that +1 armor to help out too. A couple of Archons joining on the fray, as this medevac drop is going to be cleaned up eventually. Stalker's tracking the army, as MaxPax's actual army with Colossus, Archons, and Charge Lots was perhaps looking for an angle off to the right of the 3rd CC. Protoss player has to be very careful traversing the map. They don't want to be surrounded. But Clem honestly needs to be threatening those surrounds, because if he just takes a purely defensive fight... Oh, he finally finds the Proxy Gateway. Those Colossus could still be trouble, even though there are Vikings in the sky. 3 Colossus getting all their shots in, while Clem can't disengage, forced to make a stand. That's when they do good work. And oh, even a little bit of miss micro. Little bit. Letting the bio get attacked like that, but does get the EMP off. We'll have the planetary finishing by the looks of things. The Widow Minefield, by the way, surprisingly, there's a depth to it. There's a surprising depth to the Widow Minefield here. A lot of them going off. Zealots are going to try and take care of the SCVs, repairing the planetary, but the rest of the Protoss army off to the right is looking to deal damage on the 3rd. Clem expected and anticipated this 2-pronged attack, and with the help of the Widow Minefield, 14 Widow Mines in play, guys. He will be able to push this back. It was the Widow Mines plus the planetary actually being done. That was in the nick of time. Plus the divide of the Terran army that worked wonders there. MaxPax will not get the 1-2-3 punch that he was hoping, as the War Prism has also been deterred thanks to a Viking missile turret combination. Gonna get killed. There you go. Clem, Sensor Tower would be wonderful here. This is actually something he's missing. Straight up missing. Sensor Tower would be so great. His Widow Mines are giving him some advance notice, and they are getting a lot of free shots, too. Just because the Observer is lagging behind, or there's only one, so it's only with a certain part of the army. But, you know, Sensor Tower is, like pretty good. He's trying to spend every bit of resources he has on armies, so there's some excuse there, sure, certainly. But oh, yes, he gets one. Nice. I really think it's quite useful, and I think he does as well. Just had to find the resources and the time. Now, this one is in a pretty vulnerable spot, I would say, but it looks like he's more worried about defending his 3rd, which is an orbital, as this planetary can do at least some defense on its lonesome. But this has been Clem entirely on the defensive. He has just been tracking the Protoss' movements. So the Protoss on 5 bases, working his way up to triple robo, moving the disruptors, moving into more upgrades, DTs, no doubt with DT Blink on MaxPax's mind. I mean, this is the ideal situation at this point in time for the Protoss player. It will get less ideal if the Terran player successfully gets 4 bases mining, 5th base even done actually, maxed out with upgrades, good Viking count, good Ghost count. That army is once again theoretically better than the Protoss. It can't get choked up, it can't just take a disruptor ball to the face, of course, but if it gets any type of good concave, then MaxPax is the one that should worry. The upgrades are basically even, 3-1 to 2-2, but the Vikings getting a couple of free shots there. And that choke did not look promising for the Protoss side of things. Bunch of Zealots, however, going into the natural is going to cause a lot of issues, especially as Clem only has so many reinforcements. He is almost maxed out. Almost ran into a Disruptor Ball. Last second split helps. And Clem will hold on to the supply lead. 20 above on the army as well. Good split against the Zealot harassment by the looks of things. 3-3, inching ever closer. Still a good minute away. Clem's split of his army now looking a little bit suspect, but the Zealots have been cleaned up. More Marauders coming forward. That's 27 Marauders. That is a chunky army. Actually, the medevac count's a little suspect. There we go. He does have 8. They're just not all here. This is turning into kind of a weird engagement. That's not enough on the left side for MaxPax to call this a surround. And the right side, well, probably okay thanks to the choke. This choke is kind of nasty for Terran to go through, but Terran is going to go through it. Clem does not care. He forces his way through it, realizing that the Protoss was not ready to make a stand, and the Disruptors are running out of shots. That last one dodge and weave there as Clem now looking for the possible end of this series. One Colossus here to actually give the backbone to this army might not be enough against still 20 Marauders. Another Disruptor shot, not going to find any success. And now the rather desperate warping of Zealots. That brick wall to at least save the leftover Protoss army, as MaxPax is now forced to lick his wounds. He will be able to do so. He does have 5 bases, 6 actually. He's able to save his 6th, as Clem did not quite make his way over to that Nexus, but 15 probes did go down. A lot of expensive army units went down, and Clem now has 3-3, 10 seconds to go. He also, for all MaxPax knows, could be falling with a couple Liberators, and that's the really scary thing. That's the perfect Terran army. And if the Protoss player loses control over the map as the Terran moves over into Liberators, they probably lose the game. Because making a transition over into Tempest when things are this close is just a tall, tall ask. Now, Liberators are not on the way, so that's one thing going well for MaxPax as he tries to take an engagement here. We also have MaxPax able to recover his army counts and add in a very fearsome DT hit squad. It's ready to go, man. It is looking at that planetary. But as I have to cough and wheeze and stuff here, we do have the armies once again battling each other. And it is once again heavily favored to Clem, who I guess was dodging the Disruptor shots and taking on the Colossus no problem. His army is just so damn chonky, especially with that 3-3 done. And the Protoss still only on 3-1, but the DTs did come in. Not on top of the planetary. They tried, but it was successfully held thanks to the Woodamine, thanks to the repair, and now the DTs are going after the mineral lines, which, hey, that is working. But we got to drop off to the right side for Clem, and a main attack on the left side. Disruptor's about to pop from this Robo. Will it get a connection? Won't get the opportunity. Clem actually looking to disengage, but look at the overall supply. Look at the supplies. 60 supply difference, as Clem now with a substantial army supply lead still has those upgrades and still is applying that pressure to MaxPax. Couple snipes even going down. You can hear him. The Disruptor's once again going down. That last Colossus will fall, and Clem is going to take the 3-1 victory over MaxPax for the first European Open Cup of 2024. GG's. I really thought those DTs would be a problem, but they didn't hit fast enough. They actually did do a lot of damage. They killed an orbital, apparently. But where it was lifted, I'm not sure, actually. But they did a lot of economic damage. They just did not distract him when it was most necessary. Clem was able to put the pedal to the metal and win the series. GG.